there, everybody. Welcome to Guided Listening this week. I'm Jeff Antoniuk. So we're going to be listening to Jaco Pastorius, the Word of Mouth Band, and the song The Chicken. So yeah, this is, one of Jaco's most famous, tunes that he would play. He didn't write it. It's written by Pee Wee Ellis, from essentially associated with James Brown and the JB horns and all that. So this is essentially a James Brown instrumental tune that Jaco ended up making even more famous than it was. So I'm picking this tune because I've been listening to The Chicken a lot. And now if you're in Ohio, I want to see you soon. So the day this is coming out, if you're watching this in real time, this Sunday, like in a couple days, Sunday, December 3rd, 2023, I'm heading out to Cleveland. I'm going to be playing at the Bop Stop. There's a really great big band night going on with a couple different big bands. Dan Zola Big Band I'm going to be playing with, and featured soloist with the Scatch Anderson Big Band. So they're bringing me out there. Cool thing, also on the bill is Tom Bones Malone. Then a couple days later in Tiffin, Ohio, we're going to be, Tom and I are going to be doing, again, guest soloing with a couple big bands. Tom Bones Malone, he used to be the musical director of Saturday Night Live. The Blues Brothers, the movie, all that stuff, that was him. Dave Letterman, Late Night with Dave Letterman, that show, Tom Malone. I saw it somewhere the other day. The thousands of albums he's on, the 2,000, kind of commercials, the 4,000 arrangements he's done for Hollywood and New York. So it's impossible that you haven't heard this guy's playing and his composing. Tom Malone, he went to North Texas years before I did, so I'm excited to be connected with him and doing some of these concerts. And so Tom Malone played with a lot of these musicians, probably played with all these musicians, played with Brecker and with Bob Mintzer and all these guys plenty. So I'm excited about that. So this is one of the songs I'm going to be featured on this weekend, along with some of my original compositions and everything else. So if you're in Ohio, that would be great. And I'm doing a lot of this these days, going around. I was up in Canada doing a couple concerts, guest artist with some of my music and big band. So by the way, if you've got a big band in your town, whether it's college related, I did a university in Edmonton, or community bands, another one of those I did in Canada. That's what this is in Cleveland. I'm doing more and more of this, so I would love to come to your town. So let me know if this is if there's a good fit. I also end up doing a lot of teaching and workshops around this, as I'll be doing in Ohio too. So let's dig into this tune. So as I said, I've been checking it out because Bob Mintzer and Michael Brecker are roaring on this tune. So the band, Jaco Pastorius on bass, it's Peter Erskine on drums, Don Elias on percussion. We hear from Bob Mintzer on the tenor sax. I'm pretty sure we hear from Michael Brecker. I'm going to talk about that. We hear from Randy Brecker on the trumpet. And then there's like a whole big band. So there's different versions of this. I chose the Jaco Pastorius birthday concert. So this was recorded in, I want to say, 1981. It wasn't released while Jaco was alive. It was released in 95 or something like that. So this is recorded at a club, his birthday. And then it was recorded on the Invitation album and other places. But, I just kind of picked this one. I thought it was interesting. So now there's, a bunch of sax players, but the two soloists, Michael Brecker, Peter Erskine, or Michael Brecker, Bob Mintzer. And I know Bob a little bit, and so I'm going to ask him about this. But, and maybe you have the liner notes for this thing. I did all kinds of research, and I did my best. There's an intro to this. I'm pretty sure that's Michael Brecker playing on the intro. Then there's a tenor solo. I know that's Bob Mintzer playing the tenor solo. Then there's sort of a different part of the tenor solo. And as I listen closer, it's like, wait a minute, that's Brecker. I think I'm going to bet a fair amount of money that it's Brecker on the intro, that it's Mintzer, definitely. I'll bet a lot of money on that. The full solo, and then the next solo sounds like Michael Brecker. Now the thing is, at that time, like the sound of the tenor sax and the great jazz players who also did pop. Top of that list is going to be Bob Berg and Michael Brecker and Bob Mintzer and some of these guys. So they're all influencing each other, similar vocabulary. They're all coming from Coltrane, but putting it through different things. So I wouldn't forgive someone, and I hope you'll forgive me if we find out like I'm wrong that, that what I'm calling the second solo is still Mintzer, but I don't think so. I know what Brecker sounds like. I know what Mintzer sounds like. So anyway, we're gonna hear this. We're gonna take my word for it, and I'm happy to get on an internet argument with someone that knows the real story. I think I've got it right here, but we'll see. Let's jump into it and listen. There's so much going on. Jaco Pastorius, of course, the legendary fretless electric bass player. He really changed the bass, how the bass is heard and perceived in human history. So there are great players that come and go, but they didn't change the world. We can say, I don't know, could we argue, did Stravinsky change the world? Did Monet change the world? I think they did in their artistic visions. Did Coltrane change things? Yeah. Did Bird change things? Yeah. There are other great players that maybe you love more, but did they change things? You love them, they did a great job of it, but did they change things? So we don't even have to argue about it. Who cares? Love what you love. But, I think we can talk about Jaco's approach changed how people play, hear, and think about the bass. So he's a big deal. You can like him or not, right? So let's jump into this. It starts off with this intro that Jaco wrote. It's called the Soul Intro. And we hear the saxophone over top. Pretty sure it's Brecker. And then it goes into the melody. First solo is Mintzer. Let's check it out. The Chicken. Live in Florida.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to say hello to my mother.
That's good right there. Always say hello to your mother. Say hello to your mom. Okay, good. Good lesson from Jaco. Here we go. Saturday Night Live, right? So we're hearing the big band providing those chords, Brecker over top. Woo! I wish I was there. How much fun was this? All right. And that bass sound, fretless bass, and Jaco would use a digital delay split in stereo. So it sounds like a chorus, but I don't know that he used a chorus ever or much. I think it was a delay, but it gives that kind of spacious, kind of swirling sound to his tone. So this is the melody, the Chicken, 16 measures long. Last 4, last 3. A lot of people screw this up. Last 2, last 1, back to the top. And it's kind of like a blues. This is a 1 chord. And it goes to the 4 chord like a blues, but then it changes here. Listen to Jaco. So the band is definitely comping, right? So with that in mind, well, let's listen to the beginning of the solo. Bob Mintzer, for sure. So listen to the piano and the guitar. I don't hear any piano and guitar. There's no piano and guitar. There was no comping on the album. It's the band. This line comes in each time. Last 4. So when you listen to Jaco play, he's moving around a lot, right? Sometimes he's playing chords on the bass. So there's not really any need or room for comping. And with the big band, okay, they're comping, right? Fascinating, no piano or guitar, no traditional harmony instrument. And I just talked over Mintzer's solo. I apologize. So keep listening to Jaco. Now this is what I call the new solo. Now, that's a different tonality. It's panned different. It's a different microphone. That's Brecker. I know his language. That's Brecker. I'm going to bet a lot of money. Jaco comping, playing chords on the bass. Woo! So the language that Mintzer and Brecker are playing, it's a lot of major pentatonic, minor pentatonic, blues scale. So that really basic language. And then we hear Coltrane and Joe Farrell and all of the advanced harmonic language they know too. And all these great harmonic pulse fingering things that Brecker was famous for. All that stuff. Extended saxophone techniques. Classic Brecker lick right there. Not that other people couldn't play it, but that's Brecker. And again, listen to Jaco and Peter Erskine percolating together, right? Classic R&B King Curtis kind of saxophone. King Curtis, Coltrane, bang them together. You get Brecker and Mintzer and other guys from that time. Okay, solo's over. Now this is sort of an interlude, big band interlude. You can hear the trumpets, trombones, baritone sax, probably 15 horns, 15. Randy Brecker. Michael and Randy brothers. Randy's just a little bit older. Woo! So listen to Randy Brecker's language. I had him to teach at the Summer Summit, the Jazzwire Summer Summit. And what he said, I've heard him say it many times, is, man, I was just playing Kenny Dorham licks. So if we listen to the lines he's playing, not a lot of it is some crazy modern stuff. He's playing killer melodic bebop. Fantastic. Now he had his own language. I love Randy Brecker, but he's so honest about saying where it all came from, and that's bebop, Kenny Dorham. So you're hearing bass and drums, but also congas, Don Elias on congas. And so that whole rhythmic thing of the bass, congas, and the drum set is like, oh my God. Frankly, I don't need any horns. I don't need any tenor sax solos. To hear those three guys groove, yikes. Every chorus, that line comes up. Every chorus, and they end with it. All right, Jaco's birthday concert. So you could compare this to other versions. There's all sorts of live versions in Japan, and very often it was Bob Mintzer and Randy Brecker, sort of when there was a small group version of this band. I think Michael was off doing other stuff or whatever it was. But there's some, great live recordings. Couple, actually, both. This one from an album was a live recording. There's a famous version from the Invitation album, also a live recording. So I don't even know if there is a studio version of this. There probably is. There's a great version with John Scofield on and on. So you can find all sorts of different versions. But that idea of knowing what makes Jaco such a big deal, and we didn't really get into it very much here, but and the bass line to this song is busy. Whether Jaco's playing it or not, it has that sort of rolling R&B sort of bass line that we would hear, from the great bass players in Motown, James Jamerson, right? Like that sort of stuff. But how just the surprise that there's no piano or guitar on this, that it's not necessary, it's not needed, there's no space for it, right? It kind of wouldn't make sense necessarily, is interesting. And then this idea about which are the sax solos, like back in the old days where you'd get an album and there'd be like liner notes and it would tell you. I miss that, but I'm old. What are you going to do? So I hope you enjoyed digging into the chicken. I'm going to be stealing some of this stuff and bringing in some of my own ideas for the concerts coming up in Ohio. So I hope I'll see some of you at the Bop Stop on Sunday, December 3rd, in Tiffin, Ohio on December 5th. And as I said, I've done a bunch of this kind of stuff. Guest artist with big band. So if that seems like a fit for you, coming in and doing a combination of concerts and workshops, it would be a blast. You know how to get a hold of me. You can find it right there. And I hope I'll see you inside Jazzwire. We've had like a bunch of people sign up recently. So people are starting to pay attention. You're finally starting to listen to me. Congratulations. No, it's wonderful. We got a bunch of new people from across North America and Europe coming in to work with us. We're starting on 3 new songs in Jazzwire in a week from this weekend. So I'll tell you about those songs next time. But we've got a Bill Evans tune coming up. What do we have? Something Stan Getz made famous. What is the other one? Can't even remember. You know where to find it. All right. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy listening to the chicken, and I'll see you next time.